Welcome back, my friends, and we're here today with Rich from Hughes and Kettner doing a review of this incredible Black Spirit 200. Tell us a little bit about yourself first, Rich.
Me, myself?
Yeah.
You're interested in me?
I'm interested in you, my friend.
Wow, that's the nicest thing anyone said to me all week.
Really? Nobody's asked you about you?
No, not really.
That really sucks. So what are these people at Guitcon like? I mean, if it isn't important, the personal touch that these guys have shown all week on every single one of the stands, these guys have worked their hindquarters off. They've been super, super friendly, and they haven't been bugging anybody, fully approachable, but not pushing people to try out the gear, which is why I was desperate to help you out, man, and have a little look at this beautiful amp. So yeah, tell us a bit about yourself. What's your background? What made you get into guitar? What made you get into working for Hughes and Kettner?
Well, it's a long story, but I'll try and keep it short. My name is Rich. I'm originally English, but I speak German as well. I've lived over in Saarland in Germany at the Hughes and Kettner town for the last 4 years now. I've got German citizenship. I speak both languages, and that obviously helps if you're living in Germany. So when did I pick up the guitar? Probably when I was about 12 or 13.
So it's a passion, played a bit. Childhood passion.
Exactly, yeah. So I've played since then. Was very much inspired by AC/DC and Malcolm Young in particular, so I've never got to... It doesn't get much better than that. For me, anyway.
Yeah.
Your opinion may differ. But yeah, so that's where I was as a teenager. I grew up, I trained in journalism, so I'm a writer. I'm musical as well. I write my own stuff. I played in bands, that kind of stuff.
Wow. Fantastic. That's exactly the sort of pedigree I would say that qualifies somebody to come into the industry. I think you've really got to love what you're doing, and it's nice that you've got that sort of background, that you like the work you're doing, and also the ear. You train the ear, because if you've been playing since 12 and it's a childhood passion, then your passion's going to carry through into your work. So let's find out all about your passion. So this is a fairly new model out, is it?
This is brand new.
Popular one.
It came out last month.
Right.
It's a totally new thing for us.
Yeah.
It has a new technology in it that we're calling Spirit.
Right.
And like I said, it came out in September. It's sold out until February next year.
Wow.
As of writing, so we can't build them fast enough at the moment.
Wow.
So apologies if you're waiting on one.
So if you want one of these, get on the waiting list now. Obviously, listen to the demo and look at a few of the others and see what you think of it. But I haven't found a bad sounding or even a mediocre sounding Hughes and Kettner amp since I've been here. I've played in all of the studios, and most of them have Hughes and Kettner gear in there. We love these beautiful blue lights, man. They are just so pretty. But more importantly, the sound is pretty too. So I've been really, really impressed with the entire range. I've played everything from the little combo up to the big, wide, 3-channel heads.
We've got a 6-channel head.
6-channel head.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know if I played that. I'm not sure, but there's bound to be stuff from Guitcon where you can see that 6-channel head in action. And I'm sure that, yeah, every single one of them sounds equally as good. There's some beautiful rock tones on it, but I'm interested in the fact that these really clean up quite nicely. And this one is a... Sorry, I'm doing your job. You tell us about this one.
Okay, so well, just tell me first, how much do you know about H&K as a brand? Are you familiar with any of the amps specifically, or shall I just kind of...
I love the blue lights.
Give you the whole story.
I'm a magpie. I love the blue lights. I've played quite a number. I've played a lot here this week, and we're on the last day filming this, unfortunately. Very, very sad day for us all going home. Yeah, limited knowledge, so please give us the full SP on the range. And so yeah, tell us a little bit about the entire range, because my knowledge is fairly limited, and I'm interested.
Well, let me take you way back then, and I'll tell you a little story that I don't think I've ever told on camera before, which is where the H&K name came from.
It's an exclusive.
Yeah, it is. So, lucky people. The brand H&K has been around since the mid-80s. It was created in this little town in Saarland in Germany, which is just down in the little kind of southwestern corner. You might know Frankfurt from the Music Meta every year.
Yeah.
We're a couple of hours south of there, near the French border, near Luxembourg.
Right.
Lovely little place. And there were a couple of brothers there. Hans and Lothar Stamme is the name. And they were coming up with a company. Lothar built speakers, PA speakers, and cabinets. And Hans was a banker who came in and did the business side of the business. There was another chap there called Stefan Fischer.
Right.
And he was been kind of the marketing guru for the last 30 or so years, and they said to me, we need a name for the amp, right? But it's going to be, it has to have kind of a two-faceted approach. Because what we want to do with Hughes and Kettner, the as yet unnamed Hughes and Kettner, is kind of have the one side, which is the German engineering and efficiency and the innovative nature of that. So we're going to have a German side of the name, and we need an English/American side.
Hughes being the English-American?
Yeah, so there is no Mr. Hughes and there's no Herr Kettner. Stefan Fischer went through a phone book, found names that suited, and that's where the name came from. And the logo itself is actually what Stefan wrote down on a napkin. That's his handwriting.
That's his handwriting.
Yeah.
And translated into that.
And that's that as well. So there you go.
And it was taken from a phone book. You heard it here first, folks. Wow, that's an incredible story.
Yeah.
Wow. But so it's the same guys that started it, still involved, still running it,
They're
still heading it
all
up?
still there, yeah. And the main engineer is a chap called Bernd Schneider, and he's still with the company. So he's done everything from our very first amp, which was called the AS64 back in '85, I think.
Yeah.
Everything through from tube amps to solid state amps to modelling amps, and it's culminated in what we've got here. Some of the most popular amps that you guys might have heard of or might know would be the Triumph, which is kind of our made in Germany flagship. The Mark III is the newest one, and that's the one with 6 channels that you've seen there but not yet played.
Right.
Hopefully one day.
Yeah.
At the moment, the last couple of years, we've had the Grandmeister Deluxe 40,
Yeah.
which is a 4-channel tube amp.
Okay.
Has built-in MIDI capability, you can save presets, it has built-in effects, it does everything. And this is the newest one.
Okay.
What Bernd Schneider, the engineer, has been doing the last 30 years is trying to come up with the best way of making innovative kind of amps that do everything that you need them to do but also sound great.
Okay. Yeah.
And what he's been trying to do for the last 5 or 6 years is come up with a way of making an amp that didn't have tubes in it but sounded like tubes.
Yeah.
And this is where the Spirit technology comes from. This little red box in here is actually the piece of circuitry which is responsible for all the sounds in the Black Spirit 200.
Wow.
It's made in Germany and it's sealed, and only Bernd and one other guy at H&K actually know what goes on in that circuitry. No one else
LED
can
light.
know.
It's
Yeah.
an LED. That's what it is. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
It's just an LED.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's really not.
Of course not.
So it's a piece of circuitry in there, and what he's tried to do is replicate, all the crazy interactions that go on in the gain stages and tube amps in an analog way, but without the tubes.
Right. Okay. And I have to say, I have just been playing it to demo a few guitars on today, and it does react and feel like a tube amp. Giving you an example, I was just playing that Angus Young riff. So with this guitar actually does not clean up too nicely, to be fair. It is a pretty hot guitar in every setting, but if I... You can hear the contrast in the very, very low volume on the pot and then the full-on volume. And of course, that's exactly how a tube amp reacts. And that's on the lead channel. It's even more noticeable on the clean and crunch channel. So you've still got that real nice, that's the clean channel, not even the crunch channel. So I think the crunch channel might be a bit quiet. That's just all right. So again, cleans up beautifully. Really, really does clean up just as you take the volume pot back, and that is exactly what you expect. And also, it's got that kind of tube sag in it as well. Do you know what I mean? That gives you, and it really feels to the player very responsive under the fingers.
It's funny that you mentioned that. Have you played with the sagging control yet?
No, I didn't see there was a sag control. It's on full. The sag control is on full. No wonder it feels like that.
Well, there we go. Because another cool thing in the Black Spirit 200 is the sagging control right here.
Yeah.
Because we realised that what a lot of people talk about when they talk about great amp sound is when you've really got a tube amp cranked
and you dig
and it
in,
starts to sag,
Yeah.
And you get that kind of different response under the fingers, the natural compression and squishiness.
Yeah, and I should say, guys, that we are here at pretty much bedroom volumes.
Yes.
We're not pushing this amp at all, but it sounds like we are, so that works really well. So this is entirely solid state, digital, and modelling in terms of amplifier.
It's a totally analog signal path unless you bring in the digital effects.
Okay. So it's all analog.
It's not a modelling amp.
Right. So this is the secret
It's a
thing in
piece of
there.
analog circuitry.
It's a piece of analog.
And we're calling it Spirit. Of course, there is a transistor in there, so it's based off of that. But it's a new way of doing it, a new way of looking at it. And that's why they've sealed it, because I think for the moment we'd quite like to keep it our little secret for a bit. And I know guys these days with the internet, they know exactly what's going on in amps, but we want to keep this one a secret.
Well, I guarantee you, before this video even comes out, somebody that's got the first one of these will have had it open.
Cracked it open.
So somebody's probably bought one in China. You know, as they do, they'd have got one already and they'll be taking it apart. And you could probably buy one in China for 20 quid, but it'll probably fall apart in 3 minutes and it won't sound anything like this. It'll sound more like the useless stuff that sometimes comes out. Sometimes, not always. There's a lot of good Chinese brands. And in fact, there's a couple out here as well. Anyway, getting back to this amp.
Yes.
So it's all analog. That actually really shocks me because of the fact that it's pretty responsive on all the controls, but with that kind of thing in it, like sag and all of the, you push for effects, that's the digital stage of it.
Yes.
Obviously. And that's a really interesting thing. I was in one of the studios the other day doing a video with Kieran Robertson from Operation Minecraft.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get this chorusy phasing sound off the amp. And I called Steve from Boston in and said, help! And he just went, oh, what you do is you push effects access and that makes all these the things that control the effects rather than tone, volume and stuff like that. And that is why I thought that this was a modelling amp, because obviously these are acting as almost as, what's the word, digital controllers rather than a direct pot. So how's that work?
They're dual function. I hope you guys can see it here. Maybe you can blend in an image.
I'll overlay an image for you so that you get a good shot of the front of this amp.
Exactly, but the pots across here all have two functions. So for example, these three here, they control the EQ, your mids, your treble and your bass. If you press the effects access button mode here, and it starts to flash, you're in the dual function mode. So those same three pots then control the delay, the level, the feedback, and the time.
Yeah.
Once you know what you're doing, it's second nature. But I have to admit, you know, in the situation you were in, you needed to get rid of the effect and you didn't know, then it's not that obvious. But so that's what that does. The technology behind these pots is one that we developed ourselves as well. It comes from Bernd Schneider, inspired by washing machines, actually. It's called Smart Rotary Controls.
Wow.
And it's basically an analog resistor network which you can program.
Okay.
And each one, this pot feels totally smooth, right? But actually it's got 256 tiny steps in it.
So it is a digital pot then? It's not an analog pot?
It's an analog pot, but there's digital relays in there that save everything, because the amp works with MIDI as well. It really does everything.
MIDI?
Yes.
My goodness.
You basically, you use it as a normal pot. You would.
Yeah.
And then the amp remembers that.
Okay.
And that's why sometimes the physical pot settings might not actually
correspond.
Tell you what's going on.
Yeah.
But there's an easy way to find out where you are. For example, if you want to know where your mids are at the moment, just turn the knob back and forth. And when your correct setting is there, the store button's going to light up. So if I just twist that, there we go.
Okay.
So that's where your mids were. So that's the way to kind of know where it was.
That's very clever.
Yeah.
Very, very clever. Very. Once you know the secrets, it's also quite quick. It's really fast access, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's great. Yeah. What's the other? That's the. I can't see. Can't read it. My old eyes.
This is a headphone input. An aligned thing, because lots of people always ask, why can't you give us a headphone version of your amp? And there you go.
Wow.
So you can use this silently, totally. You don't need a cab connected.
Okay, because it's not valve.
Exactly. Well, actually, with our Meister series of valve amps, you don't need a cab connected either, because you can run the Redbox DI on the back, which takes the load.
Yeah. And
that's fine as well. But yeah, with this one, the headphones, you've got a beautiful kind of stereo panned effect. It sounds massive.
Wow. And is that cab simulated as well? Is it these that you've been using on the jam nights?
On a couple.
On a couple.
Most of the time we've been using the Tubemeister Deluxe amps, which are valve amps, just have 3 channels, 40 watts.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is 200 watts and it does cut through.
There you go, that's why. It's 200 watts. I thought it was 20 watts and I'm going, oh, man, that is... Yes, okay. 200 watts in a tiny, tiny little thing like that?
Yep.
That's incredible. Yeah. That is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I mean, 200 watts, I mean, of course, it's not tube watts. 200 tube watts would just be pure insanity.
Absolutely, yeah.
But this is loud enough, in our experience, for any kind of band setting.
Yeah.
And of course, because there's no tubes in it, you don't need to have it cranked for a good sound, so you can run it on stage, in the rehearsal room, or even at home at night.
This is beautiful. I have to say, the thing I like most about your amps, from a visual point of view, is they are totally unique. You can see from right up the other end of a stadium if somebody's playing Hughes and Kettner, because you see this beautiful blue, and that's why I keep going back to look at it. It doesn't only sound good, it looks so cute, you know. And this is a particularly sweet little footprint as well, as I say, the small box of it. Tell us a little bit more about the amp itself, the tones. We've got a clean channel, we've got a crunch channel, we've got a lead channel, and we've got an ultra channel. And I haven't been brave enough yet with the PhilX guitar to click over to the ultra channel, because the output on these pickups, these PhilX pickups, is ridiculous. Ridiculous. And actually, possibly, we're not doing this amp a justice on the clean channel. In fact, we're certainly not doing it justice on the clean channel, because if you look at some of the other demos I've done of the Framus guitars while I've been here, you'll hear that the cleans on this are beautiful and crisp. They chime and they sound really, really nice. So pay no attention to the man behind the curtain in this video, because this guitar is going to sound like a beast and a monster, whatever you play it through. So we're going to do something exclusive here, for me anyway. I haven't played it yet. I'm going to give it a go on the ultra channel.
Okay.
That's crunch. That's lead.
Do you dare?
Subtle, isn't it?
Needs more game.
It needs more game. That's ridiculous. I mean, but do you know, I'm going to say something about that, which is quite important. Obviously, I was dicking about and having a bit of fun there, but the tone is still a usable tone.
Yes.
It is a ridiculous amount of gain, but it's musical gain, and it's got all the right curves on the EQ curve in all the right places, if you know what I mean. And that really does. There's no wasted space on this amp. It's been tuned to be musical, which is great, and that's exactly what musicians need. We need something that we can plug in, rely on, and away we go.
Yeah, sure. And I mean, it is incredibly versatile, but you literally just flicked across to the ultra channel. We haven't tuned this before we pressed record or anything.
No.
This was just the sound that was dialed in.
If the PhilX was playing this through this channel, I mean, we would all have our face melted. We would not be in one piece. So yeah, it's a very, very, very musical amp. I'm most impressed with it, and no wonder that you've got a backlog of orders.
Well, exactly, yeah.
How do you get to the front of the queue on that? Do you need to know somebody in Hughes and Kettner?
You do. It helps.
You might be seeing one of these sooner than you think. So is there anything else that we haven't gone through on the amp and that we ought to mention for my viewers?
I'll just very quickly run through the features and just tell me if I'm going over what we've already said.
No, it's cool, man.
Yeah, so you've got the 4 channels, clean, crunch, lead and ultra, which take you from kind of pure, pristine 50s, 60s clean sounds all the way through to kind of crazy amounts of modern gain.
All the way through to PhilX.
Yeah. Everything is totally tweakable. All the pots are savable. And when you flick between channels on the amp, it remembers your previous settings.
Right.
So you've got the EQs for each channel, you've got built-in reverb, built-in delay, 4 built-in modulation effects, chorus, flanger, phaser, tremolo, which we haven't touched in this video, but I'm sure.
No. And they're all MIDI controllable, so I take it, is there a foot controller that you can then add those in with?
Yes, there's a foot controller called the Hughes and Kettner FSM432, but most kind of standard MIDI operatable boards will be able to do this. Obviously, we recommend ours because it's ours. So yeah, you can control everything with the foot switch.
Yeah.
And like I said, because it's got these programmable pots and MIDI connectivity, everything is savable. So you can save kind of the amount of gain you've got, you can save your EQ settings, you can save the effects, you can save the volume even.
With that many patches, you could do an average gig and have a set of patches per song, bank through them per song, and you've got all the sounds you need already pre-programmed into the head.
Yeah, it's similar to the Grandmeister Deluxe 40 tube head in that
Right.
it's perfect for covers band. How it works on our foot switch anyway is you've got 128 MIDI presets
Yep.
in 28 banks of 4. So let's
Wow.
say one song
Yeah.
might have 4 sounds.
Yep.
You know, you might have a clean rhythm, you might have a slightly pushed thing for a bridge or a pre-chorus,
Yeah.
and then a crazy solo sound, and then something else for the outro with some delay on.
Yeah.
You can program those 4 sounds, have them accessible in one bank
Yeah.
at the tap of a toe each time, program that for one song, go to the next bank for the next song, you've got 4 sounds there.
Even with a covers band doing 3 1-hour sets, being fair and reasonable, you're not going to have that many different sounds, because what'll work for one song will work for another, and if you group them, bank them right, it'll be quite quick.
It's got more than
In
you
one
could need
box.
there. Yeah,
Yeah.
There's a noise gate as well, which is also programmable.
Which is handy with that ultra channel.
Exactly, yeah. But you know, you might want it for that if you're doing kind of staccato riffing on the ultra channel. You might
Yeah.
want to use it as a tonal device to
Yeah.
really make sure that it cuts off the signal when you stop playing.
Or if your thing is gent,
Exactly. But if you then switch over to clean for the next song, for example, you don't want it on. Well, of course, you can just program it to be on or off.
perfect.
Easy.
Perfect.
Over here, we've got the sagging control, which controls the amount of power amp sag. And the second function of this knob is cabinet type.
Oh, right.
And that relates to the Redbox
When
AE
it's
plus
output.
DI on the back.
Okay. And
Obvi-
also the headphone?
Yes. Obviously, we're listening to this in the room through the H&K 2x12 cab, but when you're kind of recording through the XLR, through
Yeah.
the Redbox, or you're using headphones, you can select between 8 different cabinet models.
Wow.
So there's like, off the top of my head, there's 4 different 4x12 types, a couple of 1x12s, a 2x12, and a 4x10.
Wow.
So you've got many different options there, and of course you can save them for every preset or every sound you want to
Yeah.
make. This is the master section just to the left. You've got a master volume.
Okay.
This is the only not controllable pot because obviously, you know,
Master volume.
presence and resonance. And the buttons up here just give you access to some of the different features.
Yeah.
Effects access toggles the dual functions of those knobs.
Yeah.
The effects loop brings that in or out.
Switches
if
it
you want
on
to
or
turn it
off.
active
Yeah.
or not.
So when it's pushed, it's lit. There we go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the store button is for when you want to store and save your own sounds or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's incredible. What a really, really nice piece of kit.
oh, I forgot one button.
Go on.
The boost control over here. So there's an independent boost for each of the channels.
Right.
And we call it an intelligent booster because it listens to your settings in the amp and what you're playing, and it effectively pushes you up to 11 no matter what you're doing. So if you're on the
11?
clean, if you're on the clean channel and just playing clean, it's going to give you more of a clean boost.
Yeah.
But if you're on kind of a classic rock sort of crunchy sound, it's going to give you maybe
Good.
a solo lead boost or
A
something
touch
like that.
more gain.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
So that's how that works. Again, something to
And that, I
take the time
take
to
it, is a
get
pedal
into.
on button on the floorboard as well.
It is, or you can program it into presets. With our FSM board, you can switch it between 2 different modes.
Yeah.
The big mode for all the preset programming is called preset mode.
Right.
There's a second mode called stompbox mode, and when you're in that mode, the foot switch acts like a kind of standard
Stomp,
4-channel amp. You
Yeah.
switch between the 4 channels, you can turn the effects on and off, and you can
And
activate the
boost.
boost. Yeah, exactly.
Marvellous.
So that's the front side, and on the back you've got the Redbox AE Plus DI out.
I have to say, I think you've got a product here that a lot of people are going to be interested in. Purely, I think, not just because of how clever it is and how well designed it is, but because of how sonically nice it is to play through. They're not paying me to say this. As you know, I'm always absolutely 100% honest in my reviews. I found this really musical to play, and it's good under the fingers. It does inspire you to sit and play a bit longer. I've done way longer demos of the guitars than I was intending to, because I've enjoyed playing it so much. And I think you're going to do well with this. I think this will sell very, very well, because I think the word will spread when there's a good product. Once it gets out into the hands of people, which is important, get it into the people's hands, you're going to find that there'll be a lot of positive reviews. I'm guessing that those that have had it already are all positive.
So,
I can't
yeah.
imagine that there's anybody that's thought this isn't a fantastic little amp. And that's the key thing as well. Little amp. A 200 watt amp in a tiny little footprint like that take it out with a tuba 12, and it's loud enough to blow your grandmother's wig off.
And it weighs 3.5 kilograms, which is about 8 pounds. So yeah, it is very light.
Oh my word. That is absolutely astounding. I hadn't even done that.
So you can take it on a plane as hand luggage or whatever as well.
Wow. What can I say? Thank you so much for doing the review with us today. It's lovely to have you here. And again, thank you as well for being so awesome during Guitcon here. And you've been very, very friendly, given us some great knowledge. I hope you guys have really, really enjoyed that. If you have, give us a thumbs up and a like. And hopefully you're already subscribed. But if you're not, click that button for me and click the bell icon so that you get notified when I make new videos. And I'll be back with more from Guitcon, no doubt, and lots of other real good content. And watch out in the future for CGS becoming maybe a little more involved with Hughes and Kettner amps. Till next time, folks, you take good care.